Parents of hundreds of schoolboys in Katsina State in northwest Nigeria are relieved after the kidnapped children were released on Friday morning. Local officials say more than 300 boys who were abducted from a boarding school last week have been rescued and taken to a government facility for medical check and security debrief. They are expected to be reunited with their families after being identified by local council officials. But hours before their release, Boko Haram released a video of teenage boys in captivity. However, local officials say armed bandits in the region are likely behind the attack. It's still unclear how many boys were initially kidnapped and if all of them have been released. President Muhammadu Buhari has welcomed the release of the boys and asked for patience while his administration investigates the attack. Well, joining me from London is Bulama Bukati. He is an analyst at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
What is the Nigerian government dealing with here? Armed bandits or terrorists?
It's an alliance of both, I am afraid. We know that armed bandits in the northwestern part of Nigeria have been operating for about 8 years now. They have killed over 8,000 people, 1,100 of them just this year, in the first 6 months of this year. And they have displaced over 300,000 people, mostly women and children. They did that as criminal groups with economic considerations or motivations. But they have recently been infiltrated by Boko Haram, and some of them have been recruited into the terrorist group either as members or as associates, and it is this cell that was created in Zamfara that is responsible for this attack. Even the government officials saying it is armed bandits also acknowledge that these armed bandits have some link or relationship with Boko Haram. So it is a link of terror and criminality, I'm afraid.
So you're implying that we're dealing with terrorists here. If so, what do you think the government did differently this time? It's taking just 1 week to have the boys released. I mean, look at the Chibok girls. We still have so many of them missing since 2014.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Chibok girls, 217 girls were abducted in April of 2014. And 6 years on, over 100 of them are still in captivity. And even the ones that were released were only freed after being subjected to domestic and sexual slavery for years, and after reportedly being paid a ransom by government. But this one, I think the first thing the government got right was it had a head start, because in the case of the Chibok girls, the Nigerian government doubted and downplayed the incident and did that and delayed for weeks. It took international outrage for the then president to accept that the girls were abducted. And by the time the Nigerian government came to terms with the abduction, Boko Haram had already taken the girls too far and have divided them into smaller groups to make a rescue mission impossible. But in the present case, the government accepted the kidnapping happened the following morning and started a military rescue mission immediately. And that was why they were able to surround the criminals and kept them from moving the boys out of the area. And therefore, it was easier to rescue them this time around.
And finally, is the Nigerian government truly incapable of winning the war against Boko Haram, or does it just lack the political will to do it?
I think the Nigerian government is dealing with a problem others in other parts of the world are also dealing with, but I think there are things it can do more. There is need for more funds and equipment and transparency in military and security spendings. There is need to reinvigorate the relationship, the military relationship between Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger, because this is a more transnational problem that must be confronted transnationally. But also, most importantly, we must understand that the security measures can only contain this violence. There is a need to address the root causes pushing young people into criminality and terrorism. There are population growth without any planning. There are illiteracy and poverty. There are inequality and the ideology that is being exploited by Boko Haram. All these need to be confronted in the medium and the long term if we want to comprehensively defeat Boko Haram.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Bulama Bukati, for speaking to us on this issue. An analyst at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. And that's Africa Matters. Thank you so much for watching.